Greetings to the panel listening to this. My code number is D76. The motion for today's debate is Farm Bills are India's new reform beneficial or harmful for the farmers. I, D76, stand here to talk about the benefits of these bills. I strongly believe that these labor reforms will prove to be beneficial, but before we come to our actual argumentation, let us first look into the introduction of the topic. Indian labor laws today face a historic paradox. India's 580 million workforce is characterized by a high degree of informality, with agriculture being the main employer. India's vast labor movements is the world's largest working age population after China. There have been protests across the nation in response to these regressive changes in labor laws. Labor law reforms is a major part of this 5 years economic reform agenda, which is framed by the Make in India initiative. Moving further in my arguments, I would now like to talk about the benefits of these reforms. In developing nations like India, labor has historically been manual, unempowered, and stuck between of which there was a need of amending labor law legislation. Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act 2016 provides for complete prohibition on engagement of children in all occupations below 14 years of age. The Employee Compensation Amendment Act seeks to strengthen the rights of the workers and rationalize penalties. These three new introduced farm bills: the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill, the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill, and the third Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill, have created a ruckus around the country. With these new bill, government contends that the farmer will get better prices for their produce because they are going to get greater choices, because as per old laws and provisions, farmers have to sell their produce at Agricultural Produce Market Committees, APMCs. It was mandatory that the first sale of agri-produce took place in the market yard of the mandis. APMCs were formed by the Government of India to shield farmers from big retailers and to ensure that the retail prices did not get too high. As per the new bills, farmers will now to be free sell their produce even to private buyers, including big companies. Farm bill passed in the Indian Parliament and give farmers the freedom to sell their crop anywhere in India. When we want to protect the interests of the consumer while not undermining the interests of the farmers, we have to follow an array of policies that work together. The law reforms introduced in 2020 prescribes a single license for staffing farms to hire contract workers across different localities instead of multiple location specific licenses to make hiring process easier. A code process to include the interstate migrant workers in definition of workers, which was excluded earlier. This would increase the social security of such workers. The Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020 will consolidate and amend the laws regulating the occupational safety, health and working conditions of persons employed in an establishment and related matters. The Trade Unions Act 1926, the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946 and the Industrial Disputes Act are to be consolidated into one as Industrial Relations Code 2020. The balance of payment crisis and the general state of economy compel the government to bring about a change in policy. Thus, I would like to conclude by saying successful emerging economies have made it a goal to put their workforce supply to its full and optimum utilization for accelerating growth. However, India's labor laws were only applicable to the formal sector, which only comprises of 80 million workers, keeping the informal sector consisting of 500 million workers out of the labor law benefits. These reforms tend to bring the informal sector within the band, which would increase and improve the ease of doing business in the country and ensuring that the rights of the workers is not compromised. Accelerated growth of economy and industrial harmony is also aimed with these reforms. This vast network of formal sector would help in attracting investments and generate employment in the country. Further, the digitalization of the process would ease the process. Digitalization would ensure business growth, more jobs and timely compliance of labor laws. The new reform would act as a basis for the implementation, monitoring and evaluation of labor rights in India. The economy is tend to grow because of better living standards, wages, productivity aimed by these reforms. Thank you so much.